Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out chapters 68 and 69 of Season 2 of Tower of God, and we left off with a little bit of an ominous note with Hat's going to get a new weapon since his sword was completely ruined going up against Castano again, so he is currently going to see if he can find some weapon as a replacement, especially with the kind of sentimental value that he had for his sword as well. I feel like this might be a good moving on point for him and letting him be his own person separate from his past and his family, his upbringing, and that kind of a thing. But we'll see what he ends up settling on. But we saw him going into this shop in a kind of like alleyway thing, which is a little bit suspicious in and of itself. But we also had what looked like Cassino and Teddy Bear in the background of the panel right off to the side, and I was like, I see them. A little bit worried about what that might mean if they encounter each other during all of this. But we also had, I think most importantly, Chibi Rock coming back, and I just love him so much. I cannot be held responsible for my actions when he's in my proximity because my heart takes over. I love him so much, but I also love having him back with Kun, not only because I love their friendship, but I think that he has such a good counterbalance to Kun. We saw Kun hesitating a little bit, being a little unsure on his footing after all the way back when he lost his team. He was betrayed, he lost his team that he was putting together, his plans that he was putting together for years to go to the workshop battles and to have all of these other things going on at the same time, and now he has to recalibrate for that. Not only because he lost his team, not only because he's working with Team Sweet and Sour now, but also because he knows that Bomb is Violet, and now he has all of these different things that he's got to deal with that weren't in his original plans. So he's been off kilter for a little while of him just kind of going from one thing to the next in a little bit of a survival mode that he's not quite used to. So having Rock come in and say, like, why are you hesitating? Like, what is the problem? Why can't you be happy? Why are you like stuck in being upset or distancing yourself from things that make you happy? And finally getting that moment of Kun saying, like, I never hesitated. I think he did, but he's having that moment of confidence of being like, I have a plan now and I know what I'm doing and I have like a direction. He works best when he has a plan that he can work from and he feels like he has control over the situation. So I feel like he's gotten back to that place again, and I really like that for him because I feel like it makes him a force to be reckoned with, and I like that he needed someone to like literally like throw him through a wall and toss him around a bit to like get him out of his funk, because that's how Rock shows love. So it was great to see those two interacting with each other again, because they've been together since floor one and they've been through a lot of stuff together even though they've been separated for a little while. So love getting to see that, and we still have lots of other little threads up in the air with like Endorsi knowing something about Mom, and we don't know where Rachel is, and there's a lot of kind of little parts in all of this. We have this whole like Emily thing. It's a lot, you know, we got some ominous figures in the background of this workshop battle that's happening. So let's get into these chapters, and I guess we'll see what we end up focusing on with all these different threads that we have set up. Okay, we're starting with Endorsi. She's been a bit of a loose cannon, so we'll have to see. Yeah, there's a whole thing happening with that. And Endorsi's knows a little bit more about what's going on because she's taken a captive? I don't know, planning? Has she not been turned into one yet? It's a little bit up in the air. A lot of people trying to make others saviors. Can't we just be friends? Savior's a lot of responsibility. Like, in your heart. Cheeky. I was gonna say, isn't that where Hots was off to? Oh dear. I do feel like there's quite a few things coming to a head. So polite though, like, I pushed the button. Why isn't anyone here? Do not pick a fight. You probably won't do very well, being weaponless and all, and also Teddy Bear. Very protective. I think he's literally hiding. I mean, fair enough. Like I said, do not fight. Good question. If there's another ignition weapon here, or potential ignition weapon, what are they doing here? I mean, other than like maybe to talk to that person, because they do seem to want to know more about themselves and why they are the way they are. Oh, the door opened for them. Sure. Oh, is that what he said? That Sophia was there? I would just assumed that she was long gone. I also don't believe anything Casino said. I don't trust them. You couldn't, like, why are we being all secretive though? Like, why can't we just reminisce? It's a lot to ask of somebody you haven't seen in a while. What? Is that her? Oh dear. Oh, the line work. Also, like, the lightning of the background, but like the line work of it almost being like intangible, right? Like, it doesn't feel grounded in reality because it's this moment of realization and almost like out of body experience. And then the lightning of the background, like there's literally like shadows lifting from his perspective. It's also to like switch from them being in like the dark hallway to the lighter room, but it also has like the symbolism of like what is going on internally. Shouldn't show men can cry too, okay? You should have emotions. Processing emotions is a very strong thing to do and also just good for you in general. I don't trust her. She's part of all these experiments and I'm like, why are you okay with them experimenting on children? But I know that he's gonna be emotional. Look how giant he is in comparison to her. Oh, he's a hugger. He's gonna be just crushed. I do not see any outcome of this with like Cassino and Sophia where this turns out well for him. Like, it's just gonna be bad and heart-wrenching. He's a little different. Don't call him a crybaby. He's sweet and I like him. I don't trust anyone except Hots. Teddy Bear. But I don't think Teddy Bear is thinking things through. I think his heart was controlling him, which I get, but I also am like, maybe a little bit of analysis of the situation. Huts, you don't even know the layers to all of this. I don't even know all the layers to this. Hello, a random person who seems to also be here. What are we hooked up to? He seems like his veins are glowing a little bit, which makes me think possibly another ignition weapon, which is nerve-wracking, because again, Hats doesn't have a weapon. Oh no, he was taking a sword out, but he doesn't have it anymore. Yeah, do not engage. Oh my gosh, don't fight. I just got Hats back. Oh, poor thing. He didn't sneak in, you left the door open. You think that nobody's gonna wander in? You think his teammates won't come looking for him at least? I feel like they will. Rude. I'm assuming that because we have like halves, because we do have like the paralleling between Oryang and Cass. I don't know what to call them, like Ilmar, Oryang, Teddy Bear, I don't know. Between Oryang and Cassino's powers. Like they literally like mirror each other. So they're two halves of the same power. I'm assuming that this beta is like the whole was put into him, like he didn't have someone with him when it happened. I'm assuming because there was improvements on the whole process. I don't know what the sequential order was of like whether or not Oryang and Cassino were like the first ones or if they came somewhere in the middle of the experimentation. It's a whole thing. I don't know if he's shy or just like used to being the only one of importance. I don't know. I want to know what kind of research too. I want to know what kind of research and I want to know what kind of person's okay with this. Hello, giant egg pod thing. It's very big in comparison to what we've seen so far. Oh, that's where Emily is? Oh, I saw the little writing up there. Okay. Ooh, is that Wang Nan? Oh, it was better. I'm so used to the main blonde around being Wang Nan. I forgot about Lororo. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have Emily's in the giant pod thing, which is interesting. Oh, we have some rankers getting involved. And what's the next story gonna be then? Oh, he's Quantus somewhere, isn't he? I'm assuming they're still together. Oh, I'm excited about that too! Like actually getting into the battles. But not, because I don't want people to fight each other. But I do want some of them to fight each other in a controlled environment, which is not usually how it goes with the tower. Okay. There's so many things now. Okay, next chapter. Okay. Oh, I like how the writing is like bigger in this. Like more excitement. Also the like, wow, along the side. Okay. Battle, gamble. I feel like there's gonna be so much more going on. Like I feel like there's gonna be like the actual workshop battles and then there's gonna be like a whole other side of people like negotiating stuff. Like we had at the like one shot one opportunity battle where like there was like the actual test thing that was going on and the rules and mechanics of that, but like the story that was actually what we were focusing on was like completely separate. It was like people doing their own thing. So I feel like that will probably be something that also happens because everyone's got their own agenda and own little plans going on. Does Bomb know that they have Hots, or are Teddy Bear and Cassino keeping that to themselves? Because I don't know how he would feel, because maybe he would be okay with it because it would mean that Hots isn't involved in the fights. I mean, he went up against Auric and got away with just like some injuries that he healed from. Like he's still alive. So I think that has to count for something. Okay, I feel like since we're getting names, these two are going to come back in some capacity. They're going to be important. Do not run right up to him. I'm just saying. Not only because he's like not a people person, but also because like he's dangerous. I'm just saying. Fook are dangerous in general. Really protective. Someone who's been wronged by the great families who's trying to maybe be friendly with Foog. It's not really his goal, but I think it's interesting that like we're seeing his eyes because anytime that we see his eyes is like when we switch from Violet to Bomb, right? Like to who he is as like his own person. And I think that for someone is telling him a story of how they've been wronged or how their life has been made more difficult, that's when we see more of Bomb. We see more of the caring person who wants to make the world a better place, as opposed to like Violet, who is this like closed off persona that he's hiding behind and kind of letting himself be controlled. So I think it's interesting that with this one, more of Bomb is coming out, even though going up against Jihad and the Great Families is very much a Foog thing. But I feel like he empathizes with the fact that there are plenty of people who have been wronged by the Great Families and Jihad, even if there are like good people within those families. I feel like these people will also be important. Are you a kitty? I know you're not a kitty. I know he's probably like scary and very powerful and all kind of things, but like also look at him. I'm just saying. Who makes me very nervous? Who's the shadowy figure that would probably not do well up against Violet? Probably, yeah. He's a ponderer. I mean, it would probably be better if there was some sad story that would explain it. Otherwise, you just scare me with your like, I don't know, unwavering loyalty and weird worship thing. She makes me uncomfortable. Oh, Mom is so sweet. Like the fact that she's like, oh, like, are you happy I didn't have a sad story so that you can more easily hate me or like not have to like be empathetic to me and stuff like that. And he's like, no, it's good that you don't have a sad story. Like, it's good that you didn't have to go through something awful by the hands of like Jihad and the Great Families. He's such a cinnamon bun. I love him so much. I want this world to be better to him. It won't, but I want it nonetheless. Novik has such like single parent vibes. He's just like, he has that whole energy to him. Agree. He's not gonna try and bring everyone else down to get farther up, right? Like Mom is not the kind of person who will like step on others to get farther up the tower. He wants to like bring everyone with him, and he wants to protect as many people as he can, regardless of like the moral failings of those people. So it's not gonna be one of those things where he just kind of like bulldozes through the competition to get what he wants. It's gonna be far more complicated, and I don't think Foog really sees that, at least not the people who are with him now, because they're not like, they weren't there at the beginning of the journey, and they're not like high enough up in Foog to really know what's going on. So I think it's going to be a little more complicated than they think, because Bomb's going to try and do it in the most humane way possible. Who are you, little figure? His little cloak, his little arms crossed. Dramatic. Aww. I love how he's like radiant, like there's like a light to him, and there's this feeling of like being overpowered. And I think that's such a interesting thing that we've had constantly retold in this story. It's like talking about people being points of light has been a thing that recurs in the symbolism of different characters. We had it with Rachel, where Bomb referred to her as his star. She was this guiding light for him. Then we had with Kun, where he had the symbolism of like holding like a sun or like a light in his hands, and how that was like its own symbolism of him being able to have like that power and also to have that like control over the light and things like that. And then we have it again with Bomb being that light, that source of light for other people. I love how it's this thing that even though it's a motif that keeps coming up, it's always retold in a slightly different way. So it's not like it's the same thing being applied to multiple characters. It's their own way of embodying what that imagery is. I like that it's these words over a picture of rock. But I also think that it has a certain crossover with rock too, of like people who aren't going to just focus on like trampling the competition, right? Like Rock has other things on his mind besides that, even though his personality is very much like originally was like attack and hunt and think about the consequences later. He has a lot more going on with why he is here and what is motivating him than just going up the tower. So there's like lots of layers to it, because his interactions with Bomb have changed him into something different, and everyone who interacts with Bomb gets shifted in who they are. So I love getting to see all of these different ways in which the same image can be like transposed onto other people. Maybe we're not worried that our friend did not come home at night. Look, I am the kind of person who I will stay up and wait for you to get home. Okay? Like, even though I am not someone who likes to stay up late, I am 80 in my soul. I like to go to bed early. I am like the kind of person who goes to sleep with the sun wakes up with the sun, okay? I don't like staying up late, but I'll do it to make sure that you come home and then I can sleep because otherwise I can't. So maybe something happened? Go and find your teammate, please. I get that they're like, he's looking for a weapon, it's not an easy thing, and especially since there's like kind of an emotional journey to this too for Hots, but like, you could call him. You could just check in and be like, hey, you still looking for that weapon? Come on, guys. Is that our disguise? I'm assuming because we're mentioning Coon, and then here we have blue eyes. I'm assuming it's a Coon of some kind. I'm assuming it's our Coon. Pretty intense disguise, though. Wouldn't it be bad to only have one eye? Why cover the one? Dramatic, maybe? I don't know. I do not trust these two. I remember their maniacal laughing. Are we gonna get to see some rankers fight? Like, some rankers go up against each other? Because that would be intense. I bet you do give gratitude for that money. I feel like these people are gonna be important later on, too. Okay, so we're gonna make up teams later, then. Interesting. So the idea is like you have a team before, you've trained together and it's great, and then hopefully when you get to the team tournament part, you can then team up again together. But they can remake teams, I guess, once that happens. Interesting. Feel like there's gonna be some kind of shake up there. I also like that we have the crowd as like, win, and then also the you are here. But just the graphics are great. I love it. Oh, interesting. Don't they have to get there first, though? I just read Mr. Mask. We couldn't come up with something better? Is that the best we could do, Mr. Mask? It's like I didn't even think it through. Ah, okay. So they got the highest score before, and so they don't have to participate in the individual. Gotcha. Oof. This is making my head hurt. So we have gamblers. So the gamblers get to choose the leaders, and then they get to use the money that they earned from the gamble to buy the teammates. I think it's because it's money and my brain just like stops functioning when it comes to money. Like my brain just doesn't keep that information in my, I don't know. Money makes my brain like short circuit. I love getting to see them back to back while they're literally like having a similar thought pattern. Immediate chaos. Okay, only 3. Okay, so it's like 8 and then 3 win and move on. Is that why we're getting to the water level? Because we're putting the plug in? Oh, so you'll have, if there's only like 2 regulars left, let's say, then do you have to like go and get another plug to win? Do you get more? Like, are you worth more if you can put more plugs in? Wangnan! That means they're gonna be going up against each other then. Okay, so Wangnan, Arkraptor, Miseng, Prince. That is more than 3. That does cause some issue, because that means that all 4 of them aren't gonna continue then. I don't like that. Is there a loophole where they all get to go? Like, be greedy but realistic. Okay. Why do I feel like everyone's gonna bet on Bomb? Violet. Everyone's gonna bet on Violet. He's gonna be worth so much to have on your team. I'm just... If that's what happens, I feel like he's gonna be worth so much. Oof. I bet, like, Shibitsu and Kun are thriving with this whole, like, betting thing because I feel like assessing other people's abilities and how well they'll do against each other is just, like, bread and butter for them. I bet their brains are just full of dopamine. I'm also worried about Miseng and Prince because I'm assuming they're like being forced into this, and we had the whole making them into a doll thing, so are they being like controlled? Just uncomfortable. I want everyone to pass. Oh, the way that Wagnon's like, I'm here to save you immediately. He's such a sweetie too. What happened? What did they do to you? Miseng, did you do that to Prince? What did they do to you? I don't know what to do with that information. I'm sure that I had like more complex thoughts, but I feel like Miseng showing up with the plug with some blood on it and the scary eyes has kind of made it all leave my head because I'm just like, what does that mean? I'm assuming it has something to do with the whole making them into dolls thing, but it's scaring me. And not in a like, we're happy that Miseng is like finding her own power and things like that and gaining some confidence after some guilt and kind of some doubt in herself with what happened with her teammates, like losing Bomb and that kind of a thing. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm upset. I think there's something else going on with her, but I'm really upset that there's like 3 people can pass and we have 4 in this group. I'm like, no, they all have to pass. There has to be a loophole of some kind. I refuse because I just want the whole team back together. I want sweet and sour. It's difficult when I like too many characters simultaneously. It was a lot easier when I had like my tiny group before I cared about everyone else. I was just like untrusting and I was like, this is my group. I have Rock, I have Bomb, I have Kun, the rest of you, I got my eye on you. And now I'm like, There are too many characters that I care about, and I need them all to be okay. I need them to not fight each other, and I need them to pass these tests. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what the whole plan is for this, but it looks like Prince has been through some things, which is interesting because I feel like we had before where we had the idea of like Prince is probably one of the more powerful members and possibly there would be a bet put on him. I feel like nobody was gonna bet on Miseng. I feel like that was not what was gonna happen. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I feel like she might be the heavy hitter in this one, and that is scary. I don't know how to feel about that, so I guess we'll find out. I'm excited that we're actually getting into the workshop battles and all of that kind of thing. Far more mechanics to it than I was expecting with the like individual rounds and then the team rounds. So we'll have to see how it all works out. I hope that somebody finds Hots. Does he just not get to participate because he got locked up? What's gonna happen? I have a lot of questions about what's gonna be going on, and a lot of questions and doubt around this Sophia showing up again, because I don't trust anyone who's like, it's okay to do experiments on children in general, but also if she's like sitting there spending a bunch of time with them and then she's like, yes, you can continue to experiment on these children that I have given names to and spent a bunch of time with. Like, how do you do? I'm not even someone who's like super attached to children, okay? I don't care if they're my existence, but I also am okay if they're not. And even I'm like offended by the idea of someone spending a bunch of time with kids and then not flinching at all at the idea of them being experimented on. Who are you? I don't trust you at all. So we're gonna have to see how this all works out with what's gonna happen with Teddy Bear and connecting with what he sort of thinks is his family. I hope that he figures out that there's like a difference between bonding over trauma and then like actually having like found family. I hope that that's something that he figures out, but we'll have to wait and see as these battles start rolling. But you can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so the next time I post a Tower of God reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!